This is Smorgasbord!
Welcome to Smorgasbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I am Mick, and here is my co-host.
Angel.
Hey.
I don't know why you said it like that. I'm like, eh.
I feel like we're both extra tired today for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't.
Or maybe we're
I
both
didn't
just
do
super
very much.
zen.
No, I'm never zen.
Oh,
That's not a thing that I am.
it's just constant chaos.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Well, if you're forever in chaos, are you ever in chaos?
Good question. What if it's like a plane of existence where you realize there's a non-chaotic way to live, but you choose not to do it?
Oh, maybe.
Philosophy.
Yeah, we're going deep today because today we're covering. Okay, I don't know
Not
what
philosophy.
that has nothing to do with it at all.
It's like, can you eat that? No. Move on.
Yeah. We are covering the Sakura festival or
Yes,
the
as we
Hanami
speak,
festival.
it's very pink outside.
It is very pink. Where you
So
live in
pretty.
Vancouver right now, and the cherry trees are in full blossom. We're currently in the middle of cherry blossoming.
In the middle of April.
Yes.
I think there's gonna be like the first round of cherry blossoms have started to like petal rain away,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's like a second wave.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
different colored ones are gonna come out.
Yes. Yes, we'll find out more today. There are so many different kinds of cherry trees that all blossom into beautiful things.
They're like little pink pom poms.
Yeah.
It's
There's some different, like, there's like a purple one. No, maybe there's not. I don't know.
like a dark pink.
Dark pink, yeah. Before we go more into the Sakura festival or the Hanami festival, what's in your palate? What have you been up to in
I
food?
ate some stuff I don't know what it's called. It was some kind of meat wrapped in a leaf, and it was good.
Uh,
I had that for dinner.
is it like real? Did you get this
It's
from
at
the
a
street?
no, it was at a restaurant, but
Oh,
takeaway. That's probably why I don't remember what it was called. I'm like, that one. Okay, cool. Now I'm gone. Bye.
just like dumpling or the dim sum house style. Just point and
Point and
that.
then receive.
Do you
Yeah.
know what? Do you
I think
remember
it was
what cuisine?
Vietnamese food.
Okay,
Yeah.
like a leafy spring roll.
It wasn't crispy,
Oh, salad
but
roll.
because I actually had oh, and it was okay. So I ordered this combo thing because I looked at the menu and that one contained the most things, but it was one single order, like one item. So I got that and I got like a miscellaneous plate of stuff. I can't tell you like exactly what they
This
all were. I just ate it. It was good.
it sounds like the sketchiest,
It
the most
was
hole in the wall Vietnamese restaurant
there's
ever.
also this like roll thing. I thought it was like a skinny spring roll, but it wasn't. It was like shrimp paste that's deep fried. So I
Okay.
bit into it and then it looked like there's some kind of vegetable in it too, but it turned out it was sugarcane. Like
Oh.
I couldn't like bite through it. I didn't know that you just kind of like suck on sugarcane. You don't try to like bite it
Right.
and ingest it. That was a very interesting 2 seconds of failure.
It sounds like you just walked into somebody's house and maybe accidentally just took
Ate their
somebody's
stuff.
dinner prep food.
Yeah, they wrapped it up real nice for me and gave me a fork too.
Oh, nice. Okay. What a nice house.
Right?
Yeah.
Thanks, random person.
Yeah. Well, we celebrated Ia's birthday today and my brother's birthday because their birthdays are like 3 days apart.
Nice.
And we had carbonara,
Oh yeah, you said that in your
party
text
chicken.
and I didn't know what that was.
Carbonara?
Yeah.
Oh, because you don't eat noodle.
Oh, it's a noodle.
Well, it's like a type of Italian pasta. So it's I don't know. We just
Okay.
use spaghetti pasta, but
Right.
it's like Alfredo. It's like Alfredo or bolognese. It's a type of sauce, I guess.
Okay.
So generally, carbonara, I believe, is eggs and cheese with bacon. The bacon one.
The bacon one. Wait, that sounds great.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I get really confused with pastas because the pastas have different names itself, but then like it goes into a dish and then whatever you put on it
Yeah,
or sauce it with, it's another
yeah,
name.
yeah. So I believe carbonara is more of a saucing it than a pasta. There's no
Okay.
carbonara pasta.
Okay. It's not like bow tie. I don't know
Like
any other pasta.
no, not like
Like
bow
bow
tie.
tie. Macaroni, I guess. Is
Who also sounds like the person you bought your meal from.
bow tie. He's just like my butler.
I
I
I
don't
don't
have
know
a
why.
butler.
I don't know why bow tie to me sounded like a Vietnamese name.
Oh, no, it's like
Bow
thing that
tie.
you wear.
Yes.
All right, well, we've just accomplished nothing but establish that I know nothing about pasta.
I know nothing about clothing apparently.
Yeah, even. I do
Anyway,
know bow tie pasta is a type of pasta. So.
it is, yeah.
I
It
also
was
don't
very tasty.
understand why people have different shaped pasta because it all tastes the fucking same.
I do feel like we should
Like
do an episode
failure.
on that. There are apparently reasons for it, and some of the reasons could be how the food contains the pasta. So if like it's a saucy pasta, you want the ones with little holes in it, so then the pasta sauce can go inside it. So each
Or you
bite
can
can
just
have
use a
more.
spoon.
Yeah. People have
I
invented
don't know.
crazier things to accomplish simple tasks.
Oh, true that. It's just like the act of like rolling dough into like a little lifeboat shape. It's just so much work. I know you do it by machine now, but like imagine the guy that invented it. He's like, "Ah, I made a mistake. I have to
Yeah.
hand make all these
Hmm.
little floaty little floaty things."
Oh, totally. And I was even listening to a thing about how they make pasta and how it's not actually easy to design a pasta because they
Oh,
think
there's like
about
engineering that goes into this.
there is a full load, especially when it becomes machining, because then they build the molds that they use for the pasta, and certain ways don't make for good molds.
Oh,
It was interesting, yeah. But
cool.
again, it's like what's that TikTok guy who looks at videos of overcomplicated things and just shows you how to do it simply?
Oh, I it sounds like I would love that guy.
Yeah, I said I'll put the link of his TikTok or whatever on the episode description, I guess.
Yes. Sounds like someone I would follow if I had TikTok.
Oh, it's super funny. Yeah. They have I watch TikTok through Instagram. I don't have
Oh,
my
one
own
of
TikTok.
those, the reposts.
Yeah. But anyway, we are not covering TikTok or pasta. We are today covering the Hanami festival or the Sakura Matsuri festival. Before we go into that, you told me to remind you to tell us about anime Sakura Mochi.
Oh, yes. This is from a manga that I read a long time ago. It's a classic. Ranma. I don't know if you've watched it or seen it before.
Ranma one half? Is that
Yeah.
the one who gets like hot water and then turns into
Cold
a
water turns him into a girl, and then hot water turns him back into a boy.
yes,
And
that
it's
one.
like comedic hijinks.
Yeah, I've watched a
Yeah.
few episodes. I've never read the manga though.
Okay. I remember this one from the manga. I don't know if it was in the anime. But it was Sakura Festival, and then the girl, main girl, what's her name? Akane.
Mhm.
I mean, they have like a low key like, do they like each other or do they not like each other storyline,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
she buys like a Sakura mochi kit from like some rando on the street. So it's like if you want to divine like who your true love is, you hand make these,
Oh.
and then you give it to like the object of your desire to see if Sakura petals like appear on his face. And if it does, that means like you're meant to be together.
Oh.
So she makes it, and she's the most horrible cook in the universe. And the way it was drawn, like she just had these lumps. That looked really sad.
Like wrinkly lumps.
Yes, like these wrinkly, like sad, saggy lumps, and she's trying to get this guy to eat it, and he's just like, "No, I know your cooking is poison." Like,
Eat my wrinkly, saggy balls.
yeah. And he's just like, "No." Yeah, and then they accidentally force fed it to this other guy,
Oh
and
no.
like no spoilers, but yeah, that was how I learned about this festival as a
Oh.
child. Yeah, it's kind of cute. Like when made properly, it's like a mochi, and then it has like a leaf wrapped around it. But in her version, it's just like sad thumbs with a leaf.
Just a leaf on top.
Yeah, and I always wondered, like as a kid, I'm like, what does it actually taste like?
Is that why you ate your meal today? Because it had a leaf wrapped in it?
Yeah, no, I was not thinking of that. Also, it's not mochi. I know what mochi tastes like.
Mhm. Yeah, delicious. I'm surprised you eat mochi since mochi is rice.
I know, but I think the texture of it is not rice
Yes,
because they
it's gooey
they
rice.
like beat it into submission.
Yep.
That's what you should do with rice. Pound it with a hammer.
So Angel, anything abused heavily apparently is tasty.
Yes, delicious.
But yeah, so as Angel mentioned, there is such thing in Japan as the Sakura Festival, also known as the Hanami Festival. The difference between the two really is Hanami translates directly to flower viewing.
No.
So
Hana means flower.
yeah, and I guess me is looking or something. So Hanami doesn't necessarily mean it's about the sakura plant specifically or the sakura tree. It could be viewing any flowers in general. But the
Mhm.
most common form of hanami in Japan nowadays is is flower viewing for the sakura plant, which is a cherry tree. Sakura trees are cherry trees. During the Hanami festival, it really seems to be a common activity to be done in Japan to just enjoy the flowers while they are in bloom. And as I mentioned, there are different flowers that go in bloom with their own respective festivals, such as the plum, which is the ume. They call it the ume matsuri, because I think matsuri is festival. The most popular form of flower viewing would is the cherry tree or the sakura, and that's what we're going to focus on today. What makes the cherry trees unique and popular for viewing is because
They're
these
pretty.
are so pretty, exactly. And what makes them so pretty is the fact that they don't just sprout a few flowers. It's not like a tree that has a few coconuts or whatever.
The entire
The
tree
entire tree.
is pink.
Yeah. The whole tree, every leaf of it turns into a flower, creating such a beautiful sight because then you see this transformation of a leafy tree into just
It's
flowers.
like pink.
Yeah.
Like a cloud that's attached
Yeah.
to a stump.
And for those who've never seen this, I suggest just even googling it because it's pretty. It's super pretty.
Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't look real
no, it doesn't.
almost. Because it also only lasts like what, like 2 weeks
2 weeks.
maximum.
Yeah. After a couple of weeks, the flowers just start to detach from their branches and just sprinkle the air and the ground with all these flowers, which is in itself
It's
another
so
beautiful
cool.
sight because it's like snowing flowers.
Petals, yeah, and it's like
So
pink
pretty.
snow.
Yeah. And then you end up with this super bare tree. Well, no, not
Well,
really.
the leaves come
The
in
leaves start
after.
coming out, yeah. During this time, many people from both Japan and around the world travel to Japan to enjoy these beautiful sights, whether it's in the parks, the gardens, temples, castles, shrines, or whatever. A big part of it too is because it happens during the turnover of winter to spring, so it's much warmer outside. It's a nice time to like come out of your cave and
It's like,
feel the
oh my
warmth.
goodness, is that sunlight?
Yeah, I've totally felt that this past week that we've had beautiful sun. I'm like, I am not ready to be happy yet.
Yes.
I want to be in my cave still.
Oh man, I have not stopped going outside.
Really?
Like I have not. I got a sunburn like on my
Oh, nice.
face. Like I think I had like a weird patchy arm tan now because I just refused to go inside. It's so nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know for some reason this past few years I've been a cave troll.
I mean, you got a
Living in my
mini
cave.
fridge, so like
Yeah.
How can outside compete with that?
And then I just saw my brother today with a mascatan. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh
no, I'm
no,
not hiding.
raccoon.
Yeah,
Like raccoon life 2021.
I'm gonna stay hiding indoors. So it's nice about the Sakura festival is that these cherry trees blossom at a good time when winter starts happening. The Hanami festival for them also marks kind of the end of winter, but aside from that, also marks the beginning of the school year and the fiscal year in Japan, which kind of adds to the why this whole Sakura Matsuri is so special for Japan in Japan. So for those who don't know, the Sakura Matsuri usually begins in March and goes until May. This is lately, though, because of the changing climate in Japan and it becoming warmer, it seems that they are starting to bloom much sooner as well. So there have been reports that usually it used to happen in late March, and now it's happening earlier and earlier in March. And we did mention before that the trees tend to bloom for only 2 weeks at a time, so you might be wondering why the Matsuri happens for almost a span of 2 whole months. The reason for that is because sure each tree may blossom for only 2 weeks, but all the trees in Japan don't bloom at the same time. Uh, a reason for that is both for geographical reasons. The south tends to get warmer faster than the north. Another is also because of variety reasons, like you mentioned, Angel, that some cherry trees bloom earlier than some other varieties of cherry trees. Because of the fact that cherry trees all bloom at different times, Japan actually came up with a thing called the Sakura zensen, which is the cherry blossom front. This is their cherry blossom blooming forecast system, which is
Oh
really
nice.
a map to tell you where and when the cherry trees are starting to bloom all across Japan, which
That's
is
cool.
super awesome and super helpful. And for
You know we
anyone,
have one of those for Vancouver, right?
oh really? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
But
not know.
like it's so like our trees are not as dense, I guess. It's just like randomly they're like east like second and whatever will bloom on this day. But it's like three trees.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like they've mastered the cherry tree blooming in Japan. Usually, though, it starts in the warmer climates in Japan. So usually in Okinawa, which is the southern island in Japan, and it could even start as early as January for some trees,
Whoa.
and then
A
moving its way
little
up
bit
north.
ambitious, huh?
Yeah, the
Overachievers.
overly eager cherry trees. Like, but the Sakura Zensen is a great tool because for anyone who wants to travel to Japan and experience this whole thing, you could really just follow this whole thing and
I really want to. I
yeah,
really want to
start in
do this.
Okinawa. You could walk your way all the
Oh
way
my
up to
god,
Japan.
it's like what is that old people band that people keep following?
What?
The Grateful Dead.
Oh yeah.
Or like the McRib sandwich. There's people that like chase it
Yeah,
because
you could chase.
they re-release it like at different McDonald's over the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be for
So
this. Chasing Blossom.
chasing Blossom. It's much better than chasing McRibs.
Hmm. And what's cool about this is because there's so many different varieties, you could pretty much walk your way all the way up Japan for 2 weeks, and then go the way back to Okinawa and follow a different variety after.
Can you walk the whole way? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that big. Japan's not that
Ah.
big.
Okay, Japan has a thing called bullet trains,
That's true.
and
That is a
they're
good way to look at the
amazing.
trees too.
So our trains here are just like chuggity chug chug.
Yeah. The bullet trains are zoom zoom bitches.
Yeah, chug chug. It's like it's been 4 days. We've gone 10 miles.
When it comes to the Sakura Matsugi, some other terms to know. Kaika translates to the first day of bloom, so just the beginning of the blooming. And at the day of full bloom is called Mankai. Mankai. Just some
It's
Japanese.
visible. Like you can really tell when a tree is like,
Yeah.
oh wow. because then the next day it's just like, oh
You're
no.
like, all right, we
Oh
out.
no.
Bye.
I did my thing. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Now, some of you may be asking, why Sakura of all the trees? What's the importance of the Sakura tree?
It's pretty.
It's
How many times do I have to say this?
pretty much, but it does have some cultural and historical fable behind it as well. But yeah, for the most part, it is super pretty. There are, in terms of the symbolism, because of its prettiness, there are quite a bit of symbolisms attached now to the Sakura because of the beauty of these trees. In Japan, it seems to be the first country to celebrate the cherry trees as for its beauty, going as far back as feudal Japan. The origins also of the Hanami festival go back as far back as the feudal Japan. Interestingly, though, the as Hanami festivals tend to be associated with sakura trees now, back in the day it was more associated or originally associated with the plum tree or the ume back during the Nara period in the 1700s. It really only became more about the sakura tree in the following period, the Heian period, which was more in the late 1700s. And even as late as the 800s is where the sakura became more of the tree of
What is
hanamic importance.
the ume tree? What kind of flowers does that have?
The ume tree looks like a sakura in
Oh,
color.
it does.
It's just
Plum
not
tree
as
blossom.
poofy.
Yeah, they're not in clusters like
No.
the sakura are. And they're still
Yeah.
really pretty.
They're super pretty. I think the difference, if anyone is wondering between the ume tree and the sakura trees, are the sakura's trees are in full blossom is just full
They're
of
in like pom
flowers.
poms.
Yeah.
They're like in clusters.
Massive bunches of flowers. The ume tree seems more like little
It's more sparse.
strands of trees
Yeah.
or strands of flowers, but beautiful in its own way.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Why can't it always be spring?
Right? In terms of its significance, due to its beauty, ume and sakura trees were believed to be mountain deities that turned into gods of rice paddies. This is because cherry trees blossomed, as we mentioned, at the same time as the beginning of spring, which also signifies the beginning of rice planting season. So then that's how they had this association of these trees blossoming must be the gods wanting to
Get to work, peasants.
exactly.
If you want rice, you're gonna have to work for it.
Yep. And to pay respect to these super kind gods, people would travel up the mountains where these cherry trees would blossom during the spring and worship these gods through prayer, offering, or even feasting or eating by the trees, in hopes that the gods would grant them a great harvest. They believed that the gods would come down from the mountains during the planting season. So after you pray to them, the gods would come down the mountains and guide you and, I don't know, bless you, I guess, for in your rice plants. And then they would go back up the mountains after the harvest.
Bye.
Yeah. So to them, a sign that they will have a good harvest is when they see that the cherry tree blooms well. Lots, which is probably why they switched over to the sakura tree, because the plum tree was like, you aren't blooming that much. Look at this sakura tree.
Look at
Blooms
that
much.
fat one. It's more enthusiastic
Yeah.
about rice.
I'll
I'll tell you what, I am not one of those mountain spirits.
No, you're just like, when are we growing the chicken?
Yeah. Check out my chicken blossoms. It's just nuggets.
Bok, motherfucker.
That would be a really cute tree. Just a nugget tree.
Chicken nugget tree.
Yeah.
I feel
Get a
like
little ripe.
I feel like that
sun.
would be prettier in theory.
Could be pretty. Come on. Golden.
Golden eggs.
Golden nugs.
I guess that would be the fruit. So I am both curious and terrified as to what the flower and leaf version of a chicken nugget would be.
Feathers.
Oh, okay, fair enough. It's a feather, then an egg, then a nugget.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd buy it. What's also interesting about Sakura as a word is its etymology. So Sa actually refers to the rice paddy god, and Kura is meant or was translated as the seat for God, hence the meaning of a sacred place for the rice paddy god to dwell. So the whole history of all of this is actually embedded into the name Sakura itself.
Cute. If
Yeah.
I
One of
were
our
a rice patty god, though, I would not be hanging out on a rice patty.
oh, I'm sure he's just like chill and be like,
It's like so one trick pony.
yeah.
Find a hobby
Well, I mean, during winter, I guess he has mountain dwelling as a
to
hobby.
do. Yeah. I mean, if you're a deity, like you can go anywhere, right? I guess it
Depends.
depends on your
Yeah,
powers.
depends on some mythologies. Stick up deity, and they're not as
Yeah.
godly.
I'm just like, if I were a deity, I'd be like on vacation somewhere else. Like, let's try somewhere completely different where rice cannot grow.
Let's go to
Then
the
that's like your
ocean.
test. That's a test of power. If you go to like the desert, you're like, all right, do my rice powers. And then you're like, never mind, I'm going home.
It's too hot in here.
Yeah.
Peasants,
Peasants.
where are the peasants?
It's just sand.
These sands don't do nothing.
Yeah, anyway, I digress.
This practice also then became rise to the Sakura becoming a symbol of birth and renewal. That the future is bright and that one must seize the day. Uh,
Yeah.
Eventually, as the time passed, the appreciation for these trees and flowers changed from becoming about gods, then moved to becoming more about just appreciating the flower viewing, the Hanami part of it. In fact, in the Heian period, Emperor Saga took these flower viewings as a tradition of celebration for the wealthy. It was actually exclusive to the wealthy to celebrate these flower viewings, and apparently was exclusive to the wealthy until as late as the 1600s. So while the Sakura practice became a thing of the gods for peasants, for rich people it was a celebration. Poor
Do they
people
just
get back
like,
to work. Rich people, let's celebrate.
yeah, do they like fence off the trees?
I don't
Put
know
a
too
little
much
sign that's
about it.
like reserved.
I feel like it was more about how when people started taking seeds of these trees to plant it closer to home, because it was more of a mountain tree to begin
Yeah.
with. And once they started bringing it home to them and growing these trees, then they might have made the growth of these trees exclusive to like palaces.
Oh, okay.
So you could only
Yeah, that
celebrate
makes
it
sense.
because it's only in the palace.
You can just see the little tops of little
Yeah.
pink puffs beyond in the yonder.
Yeah. But the trees aren't even that tall, so you won't even be
Yeah.
able to, yeah, unless you're on higher ground, you won't even be able to see these trees from a wall, behind a wall.
Travesty.
Another place where you find significance for Sakura is in religion, especially in the most two common religions of Japan, which is Buddhism and Shintoism. Uh, In Buddhism, since a cherry tree grows through this change in its life cycle every year, the Sakura became a symbol of the transience of life, which is an important philosophy in Buddhism. You know, the idea that people in life change and that life always continues, that life is both happy and sad, the ups and downs of life, you know, those kind of Buddhist things. It is what it is.
Eh.
It also has become the symbol of hope because of that, you know, that things might suck now, but life changes and it could be for the better.
Yes.
The shortness of the blossoming of the sakura itself is also symbolic of the sort of lives we live as humans. The beauty of the sakura during this period acts as a reminder for us to enjoy the short life that we have with joy.
For real.
This part of life is the pretty part. Oh god, I
Thank
can't
you,
even.
tree.
Yeah. In Shintoism, the sakura is believed to be a kami or a sacred spirit, like a house spirit of sorts. I would assume it's a friendly one.
It's a pretty one.
Yeah, like
You can
one
be
of
pretty and mean though.
true. I mean, there's so many animes with like super friendly characters, and all of a sudden just murder you.
Oh, those are my favorite. They're so cute.
Yeah, right.
Like, you're so cute as they're stabbing you in the neck.
Like an oversized pair of scissors
Of
or
course.
something. Culturally speaking, the sakura also has symbolisms in other areas. So back during the time of the samurais, a fallen cherry blossom, or like a fallen cherry flower, is believed to be a symbol of death. So every time a cherry blossom falls from a tree, it's believed to be a symbol of a dead samurai who sacrificed their life for the emperor.
Oh, dude, that's a lot.
Yeah, right. It's pretty different. Um, and this idea actually was embodied again in World War II by the Japanese by painting cherry blossoms in kamikaze warplanes. So
Oh,
they
the
believe that.
cutest planes of death
Yeah,
and destruction.
right. So you would apparently often see kamikaze warplanes with cherry blossoms in it, which had this very grim symbolism of the sakura tree embodied in it, that the acts of kamikaze were to die like a beautiful falling cherry petal for the emperor.
It's morbid.
Very. But nowadays, you don't really have that dark association of death with the sakura tree. If anything, more about the transience of life. That's where the death part comes into play. The amount of symbolism of these trees in Japan also explains why you see so many cherry blossoms or cherry trees in so many art forms in Japan, from paintings, poems, like you mentioned, in anime, even.
Yeah.
I would assume that for the Japanese people, they also kind of see themselves as a sakura in some way or another. That they could identify themselves as being like the tree. In terms of, like, we talked a little bit about what a cherry blossom tree itself looks like. The most common cherry blossom is the Some Yoshino, or the Yoshino cherry tree. This one is the one that has its flowers are pink in color with 5 petals. The trees themselves don't really grow tall like evergreen trees. They tend to grow more like wide, spreading the leaves and the blossoms out into bunches. The popularity of the Yoshino tree rose during the Edo period, which is the 1600s and the 18 to 1860s, where many of these were planted all across Japan. The blooming period of these Yoshino trees are usually in early April. And as a Yoshino fact, the oldest tree is found in the Hirosaki Park that was planted in 1882.
Is it massive?
I would assume so, yeah. Maybe it's just super wide.
Yeah.
It's like a massive tent at this point. The Yoshino tree isn't the only sakura tree out there. There are actually hundreds of varieties of sakura trees. They're all different in their blossom, their size, their blooming time, but all in all beautiful and turning all into a tree full of flowers.
You know
uh,
that guy on TikTok that like simplifies things? Could have just said they're pretty.
they're all pretty. 100 pretty cherry trees.
Yep, there we go.
We're just gonna go through a few varieties here since we can't go through 100 because they're all pretty anyway,
Exactly.
and they're also all really hard. Yoshino was so easy to pronounce. All of these are really difficult. So I guess this is the segment where Mick mispronounces everything.
Yeah, let's go.
First one is the Shidare Sakura.
Spell it.
Shidare Sakura. Shidare
She D A da. Wait,
Re
dare.
Sakura. Sakura. Shidare
Hidare.
Sakura. Shidare
Hidare.
Sakura.
I took like 3 months of Japanese.
Ah, maybe I should get you to read all of
Hidare
these.
jacket sakura.
Shidare Sakura. Or the Weeping Cherry.
Oh,
They are called to be weeping because the branches drop down instead of
I've
extend
seen
out.
those. Yeah,
So they
that's
look
wild.
like the plum trees. The Uma trees also tend to droop. There are two types that you could differentiate by the number of its petals. One type has 5 petals and the other has more than 5, known as the Yai Shidare Sakura. Yai
Yai.
Shidare. Yai.
Yai
Yai
shidare.
Shidare Sakura. They are a late bloomer, usually in April, and last longer than a couple weeks. That's because, you take a little bit longer when you're sad.
He was like, "Sorry, I'm late, guys. I
I
was
was
crying in the bathroom."
for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. Been
In
there.
yeah, I feel like this is my if I had a cherry tree, this was my cherry tree.
That's your patron saint
I
cherry
am
tree.
a shidage cherry
Okay.
tree.
Let's see if there's any that I identify with.
In Tohoku, there is a giant shidage sakura called the Miharu Takizakura, which is believed to be over 1,000 years old.
Whoa.
To be depressed for that long.
Old man lived forever. Sad always.
Yep. I wonder what the story behind that one was. That'd be cool if they had like a folklore kind. Miharu. The second type is the Kanhizakura. Kanhi.
On heat. Yeah, you got it.
I didn't realize all of them end with Zakura, so that makes sense. The Kanhizakura is native to Taiwan actually, and popular in Okinawa.
Hey, represent.
Yeah. The flowers here have 5 petals, but they are different in appearance compared to other sakuras. Instead of the branches being droopy, the flowers themselves are droopy and bell-shaped.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they're also
Cool.
dark pink in color.
Oh, we don't have those here.
I feel like you might enjoy this one. They look cool, and they're from Taiwan.
But I've never seen them before.
We'll find
Or
you
maybe I
one.
just don't remember. I was
Yeah,
like a toddler.
maybe. It's unique also because this one is the one of those early bloomers. They bloom in January and February. And it's probably because it's native to Taiwan, which is
It's
warmer.
hotter. Yeah.
Yeah, and Okinawa as well is much a warmer place of Japan. The third type is the Kawazu Zakura. These ones have pink flowers, just like the other ones, and 5 petals, but the petals tend to be a little bit larger than the other varieties.
Cute.
There's also a Kawazu festival in the town of Kawazu that happens from February to March. So they seem to be an early bloomer. The next one is the Yamazakura, which is commonly found in the wild. So these are the only one wild, or I guess the common wild sakura. Flowers are 5 petals and smaller than the other sakura plants. They are also pink with dark reddish leaves.
Oh, cool.
They are late bloomers as they bloom in April and popularly found in the Yoshinoyama mountain in Naga. Which seems to be, I guess it is, because Naga's pretty up north, so that explains why. Apparently, though, the Yoshinoyama mountain is one of the most beautiful places to go for Hanami.
I want to
Beautiful
go.
flower fair. Yeah, it'd be a fun hike.
2022.
Let's do it. The next one is the kanzan. These flowers are light pink petals with brown leaves. They're also
I feel
one
like
of
we
the
have a lot of that here.
might be, yeah. This one is distinguishable by the fact that it has 30 to 50 petals. So the
Oh, never mind. These guys are real busy.
5 seems to be the most common
Yeah.
petal number of sakura plants.
Mhm.
Sakura. But these ones have 30 to 50. The leaves also tend to appear even before the blossoms start falling, which is rare because most sakura plants would bloom flowers, spit out the flowers, and then the leaves will appear.
Mhm.
This one, the leaves would appear as the blooms are falling. Blossoms are falling, sorry. They're also April bloomers, but they usually bloom after the Yoshinos bloom. So they're super late bloomers. The next one is the Kiku Zakura. This was the one that I found that is part of the 100 petal club. They have
It's
a
a
lot of petals.
thick.
This is the Tick Zakura. The flowers are light pink in color, and the leaves tend to be bigger than others, probably to manage the thickness.
These sound like they'd be cute.
Yeah,
Like,
I want.
probably be super puffy.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what 100 petals would look
Almost fell out of my chair.
like.
My bad.
That's a clippable moment, right? Angel just almost I don't know. I just
I
saw her
don't know what
like
happened.
fall. Like, are you just amazed by the 100 petals, or did you just fall?
I don't. Gravity's hard, man. Can we make that into a GIF?
I will.
Okay, cool.
100%. I actually have a collection of all the random movements we do in an episode. So at some point, that will be. We're gonna make a GIF collection of all.
That's pretty amazing. I don't know what happened. Suddenly, the ground was coming at me.
Anyway, so that was the kanzan. I think we just. Oh no, the kikuzakura. That's the 100 petal club. These ones are late bloomers, as they'll bloom in April, late April to early May. And what's interesting about these ones are that the leaf and the blossom seem to appear at the same time.
Ooh, weird.
Yeah. The next one is the Takato Kohigan Sakura. This cherry tree is exclusively found in the Takato Castle Ruins Park in Nagano. There's about 1,500 trees in this ruin, or this park, and all are of the Takato Kohigan Sakura variety. These flowers have 5 petals with a reddish pink color instead of a pinkish color. And the tree blossoms. Oh, yeah, right. What's beautiful about these ones are that the tree blossoms so many flowers that you actually have a hard time seeing the branches at some points.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
This is a flower of all flowers kind of
Yeah.
sakura.
I should have fallen out of my chair for this one.
Sugoi!
Oh!
Boom! This one is also a late bloomer that blooms in early April.
Yeah, they need time to make all those petals.
Yeah. So those are all the different varieties we have. In terms of where you could enjoy sakura plants for flower viewing, yeah, everywhere in Japan will have it. I do have a couple highlights. The Shinjuku Goyen National Garden in Tokyo has 144 acres of gardens, all of different styles of gardens, French, English, Japanese, and I'm assuming a whole load of different kinds of sakuras in it. The Meguro River in Tokyo is a 5-mile river full of sakura trees with paper lanterns floating all around the water, which is beautiful.
And I
at
think
night.
I went to Tokyo at the wrong time.
When
I went
did you
in
go?
August.
Oh, that's post sakura.
That was way post Sakura.
Next one is the Mitsuike Park in Yokohama, which has about 80 different varieties blooming all at different times, with many ponds and trails to enjoy. Gosh, I miss Japan.
Me too.
But anyway, we're gonna cut it there and probably do a 2-parter out of this because it'd be a good time to cut. The next episode or next part, we're gonna cover what happens in a Hanami festival and all the different food you could enjoy or eat with sakura, or
poisonous
enjoy
lumps.
with Hanami.
Poisonous anime lumps.
All right, so we're gonna cut it there and bye.
Bye. This is Smorgasbord. This show was created by Angel Lin and Mik Narciso, hosted by Angel Lin and Mik Narciso, edited by Mik Narciso and Bianca Goico, logo and graphics by Angel Lin, music by Mik Narciso, and videography by Bianca Goico. The show is produced by Geek Happy Network, constantly curious about the things we love. If you enjoyed listening to Smorgasbord, remember to subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube, or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts.